Welcome to episode 7 of the Going Solo podcast. A podcast for solopreneurs who want to make life and business work for them and not the other way around. I'm Knight Dutkewich, corporate dropout turned business coach and someone who learned the extremely hard way what it actually takes to run a successful solo business. Each week, I'm breaking down the real strategies, the mindset shifts, and yes, just a little bit of woo-woo to help you build a profitable business on your terms. Because it is not the market, it is not your toxic ex-boss, it is not the algorithm, it is what is going on between your two ears. So today, we are going to be talking about one of my favourite subjects, which is why we don't take action in our business. So the most common phrase I hear from solopreneurs and coaches has 3 words, and it is I feel stuck. I'm stuck. I feel stuck. And I hear this all the time, and they just can't seem to do the things that they know they need to do even when they say they want to do it. And all these people are incredibly smart. I work with highly intelligent people. They have usually had really successful corporate careers. They have the best ideas. They maybe even have like solid 5-year visions and like really get specific about what it is they're trying to achieve. And they've done everything. They've binged watched all of the webinars. They've taken at least 3 8-week founders blueprints. They've done the courses. They've bought the planners. They've lit the candles, and they've told their spouse and the dog, this is it this time. This is the time it's gonna stick. And then it doesn't. And instead, they clean the kitchen. They stack the dishwasher. They watch Netflix or Prime or whatever they're into. They scroll on social media and they get their snack on. Okay, they do anything and everything apart from the thing that they swore they would do. If this sounds familiar, me too. All the best people do this. So if you felt a sting with any of that, welcome to all the best people. So today I am going to break down why we don't take action, especially when the stakes feel high. I work with people who are desperate to make their businesses work, who would rather eat glass than go back to corporate, who desperately don't want to work for somebody else. And yet when the stakes are really, really high, they still struggle to do the thing, to schedule their masterclass, to show up live, to get the emails out, to post really authentic material, to make offers to people, to DM people. We struggle with all of those things. So I'm going to talk about what's really going on under the hood when you're stuck and give you a fresh way to move forward that doesn't require motivation, more hustle, or more kind of being, I hate the phrase, being integrity with yourself or holding yourself accountable. So I just want to be really, really clear, straight out of the gates, there is nothing wrong with you. If you're not taking action, if you're frustrated, if you're feeling really overwhelmed, there's nothing wrong with you. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You are not unworthy. There is nothing wrong with you. And this problem isn't about needing more discipline or a 5 o'clock morning miracle routine. Okay, so if you've ever said things like, why can't I just get started? I know what I'm doing, so why am I not doing it? If you said to yourself, maybe I'm not cut out for this. If you said to yourself, how can I help others if I can't even help myself? So if you said any of those things, or all of those things in the last 24 hours, breathe. Breathe. You are not alone. It is not a character flaw. There is nothing wrong with you. It is your brain. It is a brain thing. It's a brain thing. Your brain and every other human on the planet, all but 8 billion of us, our brains are not designed for entrepreneurship. They're not even designed for success. They're not designed to take action. They're not designed for big goals. Our brains have evolved over hundreds of thousands of years to do one thing above all else, and that is to keep you alive. It's quite a big job, okay? As far as your brain is concerned, it has one job: to keep you alive. And it does that by wanting to keep you safe at all times. So it doesn't care about your 20k month goals, your 50k month goals, or your dream of running your business from a hammock in Bali. It doesn't care. It cares about ensuring your survival by doing 3 things at all times: avoiding pain, seeking comfort and pleasure, and saving energy. So when you, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, sit down to write that masterclass, or to DM somebody that has recently connected with you, or to send that offer, or to go live on LinkedIn or raise your prices, your brain will throw up all the red flags. And your brain will say, well, what happens if they say no? What happens if I look stupid? What happens if I'm going to be really embarrassed? What happens if I do this live and nobody's watching? What if I succeed by some fluke and then I get found out and I can't handle it all, and then it's really embarrassing? Embarrassment is a big one that comes up for people. What if I fail and prove I'm not good enough? And then what happens is we do something called buffering. And buffering is anything where we don't have to feel an emotion. Okay, so buffering could look like you tidy your desk. My office is never as tidy as when I have a deadline. All of a sudden, I turn into a combination of Martha Stewart and, is it Marie Kondo? I'm like, do I love this? How does this make me feel? Do the work, Joe. We tend to tidy up. We tend to tweak our websites, my goodness me. We get on Canva and we start playing around with our LinkedIn banner. You know who you are. Or suddenly we decide now is the time to alphabetize our entire spice rack. And from the outside, some people call that procrastination. It's really fear. It's really fear. And it's not us and the wise Joe and the wise you and the wise Emma and the wise David. It's not you that are scared. It's the oldest, most primitive part of your brain that is. We also call this the limbic system. And it sees everything as death. It's very dramatic. It's like Mariah Carey at the height of her fame on New Year's Eve. I'm all in. Very, very dramatic. It will see everything as scary and unsafe and potential death, and it will tell you that you're just not quite ready yet. It's not the right time. You need to finish your qualification. We need to wait for there's more certainty in the economy. Things are going to get easier in May. That's your limbic system trying to keep you safe by avoiding energy, seeking comforts, and avoiding pain. And this is where things will take a turn, because I want to teach you about a little framework that I use with my clients. Now, it's not mine originally. I want to give credit where credit is due. It is basic psychology. It started with the work of Byron Katie. If you don't know Byron Katie's work, check it out. Fantastic. And then a life coach called Brooke Castillo put it into a model. Big fan of both of those ladies. So what it is the most powerful way I know to understand yourself and your brain and your humanity and start to move from stuck to action. Okay, now there are 4 principles to this model. Brooke calls it the model. The model. I tend to call it psychology 101. There are things in the world, circumstances, that we cannot control. Okay? Now we wish we could, but we can't. So the things in the what, these are facts. Circumstances that we can't control are what other people do, think, or feel. We can't control any of that. What goes on in the economy, what goes on with tariffs, what goes on with the removal of tariffs, anything. We can't control that. Okay, we can't control the past. We can't control our past. So circumstances are measurable facts, like gravity. I like to think of circumstances as gravity. You can feel any way you want about gravity, okay? Feel whatever you want. You're not going to change it. Gravity is still there. It's the same with circumstances. It's the same with other people, the past, your past, and things out there in the world. Okay, now what we can control is, I think, much more than what we can't control. Okay, but it is different things. What we can control are our thoughts, the beliefs, those power sentences in our head. We can control our thoughts. And why is that important? It is important because those sentences in your head, those beliefs that you hang on to, whether they're subconscious or conscious, whether you're aware of them or you're not, they're there. Most of them are subconscious. You're probably not aware of them most of the time. Those thoughts create those feelings in our body. And those feelings in our body we often call emotions. It's a vibration of energy in the body. And those emotions are the fuel to every action that we take or don't take. Okay? So our thoughts create our feelings. How we feel fuels what we do or don't do. Now that action, that what we do or don't do, gives us the results that we've got. Okay? So when you're not taking action, it's not about the to-do list, it's about the feeling and the thought behind the task. The problem is never the task. I'm a business coach. I'm a business coach. We very rarely have business problems. We tend to have thought, belief and feelings problems. Sometimes there are tactical problems. Sometimes there is tactical problems and we help with all of that. Most of the time the issue is you're either not taking the right action, not taking any action, or you're not taking enough of the right action. So there's only ever three possibilities. Okay, you've got to take more of the right action, you've got to take some action, or you've got to stop taking the wrong action. And the reason that we don't is always the feeling behind the action. So you're not avoiding the action, you're avoiding how it makes you feel. So if writing a post and showing up makes you feel vulnerable and exposed, and as if people will judge you, as if people that you used to work with are on there and they might judge you, your brain will nudge you away. It will show you a bag of Doritos and a lovely snack. It doesn't want you to do that. It's scary. It takes energy. It's not safe. There is pleasure to be had in Doritos. Okay? If raising your prices makes you feel scared of rejection or brings up guilt or even shame, what will happen? You won't. You will delay. What you'll probably do is to lower your prices. Your brain will tell you that it is easier to sell something that is $3,000 versus $5,000. That is not true. That is not true. I have sold courses that were $500, $3,000, $6,000. It is no easier to sell a $500 course than a $6,000 program. It's just not. It's not. Okay. So if sending that invoice or following up on the invoice or following up on the task you paid for that they promised you 2 weeks ago and they've still not done and you know they're going to be a bit awkward, if that makes you feel awkward or like just really don't want to, you will find 100 other things to do first. The best way to ever clean the house is to have something really important in your business to do. Okay, it's the only time my house is clean. So it's the feeling behind the action is what is driving everything. So then the question becomes not how do I make myself take action? And this drives me wappy. I see lots of coaches They shouldn't be calling themselves coaches. Lots of coaches saying, do the thing. Just do the thing. Just take the action. If it was that easy, if the answer was just take the action, you would have done it already. People are smart. People are smart. That's not the problem. So the question isn't, how do I make myself take action? The question should be, what is it that I'm thinking and feeling that is making this feel unsafe? What is it that I'm feeling that's making this so hard? And then you can ask yourself, what do I need to feel or think to feel safe about taking this action? And this is where things will really start to shift, because you're no longer relying on willpower. You're creating safety inside your own nervous system. And we call that regulation. We're regulating, and very, very slowly we are rewiring. Our brains are plastic. There's something called neuroplasticity. Every time we have a thought, it kind of burrows a little. If you think of when you're on the beach and the waves are coming in and the tide goes out, and you see these little sort of wiggles in the sand of where the waters come through, that's literally what your brain will look like with thoughts. So you can create a new pathway. It's going to take time. It took years for that wiggle in the sand to be buried into your brain. You're not just going to think a new thought and suddenly a different person. It doesn't work like that. Rewiring your brain, neuroplasticity, is a long-term thing, okay? From a state of being very calm and regulated. And when we do that, that's what creates consistency. That's what creates courageous action. Clients struggle with this all the time. One of my clients used to freeze up every time he had to send out a quotation. He would tweak it, he'd overthink it, and sometimes he would get so in his head that he would just kind of ghost the potential clients. And when I talked to him about it and we dug into this, his thought was, they're going to think I'm charging too much. They're going to think, who am I to charge so much money? And that thought of, they're going to think I charge too much, made him feel anxious. And then that anxiety led to inaction, which led to him not sending invoices, which led to him not making enough money, which caused problems in his marriage. Rather. So I worked with him in feeling his feelings. The first thing we want to do. We want to acknowledge that you're feeling anxious and you are feeling scared of rejection and you're feeling some shame and embarrassment about money. We don't talk about money enough as a society, in my opinion, particularly women. We don't talk about the importance of making money. It is okay to make money. It is important to make money. You can make money and meaning in the same way. Okay, so we worked on kind of moving to, this price reflects the value I bring. Or even at first, kind of, it's okay if not everybody says yes. People will judge you. Okay, that is a circumstance. People will judge you. One of the costs of showing up in business, making moves, making offers, is people will judge you. You will very rarely be judged by somebody more successful than you. It's usually people that aren't as successful as you, or something about you triggers them. That's okay. We wish them well. We let them get on with it over there, okay? So when, in this case, sort of started to really settle into, it's okay if not everybody says yes. My prices reflect the value I bring. His anxiety dropped. He started sending quotes consistently and he landed higher paying clients. Now I think this is where like books like The Secret get it wrong when they talk about, manifesting what we want, and I think that is really important. But the reason manifestation and The Secret works is because it calms down your limbic system and it starts to match your vibration and your action to what you want. Okay, it's not magic, it's science, it is physics, it is psychology. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk to you about, one of the traps that many smart, capable coaches fall into, And I see this a lot. I'm an introvert, I might have mentioned it before, and I work with lots of introverts. And this is something called passive action or busy action. Now, passive action feels busy. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel like we're drowning and really productive and too busy. And it looks like research. It looks like I don't have enough information. It looks like planning. It looks like taking another course. It looks like listening to another podcast. Not this one, obviously. Listen to this one. But even this one. That's passive action. So massive action. So passive action is consumption. It's always consumption. Now, massive action, on the other hand, is creation. Okay? So it is publishing the post. It is making the offer, sending the message, booking the call, asking for the sale, writing the masterclass, showing up, delivering the masterclass, even when there aren't many people there. So passive action feels productive. But the thing about passive action is it doesn't risk a no. So passive action doesn't risk a no. And if you're not risking a no, it's not going to cause a yes. Okay? And massive action is going to feel really, really uncomfortable because massive action always risks a no, which means it always potentially can cause a yes. And massive action is where growth and income happen. So if you're constantly kind of preparing yourself or getting ready, I want you to think of what would you do and prioritize today if I truly believe this would work. Or even a step forward for me is what would I do today if this had already happened? And then go do that. So I make all of my decisions in my life and in my business from a place of I earn $500,000 a year. Okay? Every decision I make is from a place of my solo business where I work 3 days a week, 25 hours a week. I earn $500,000 a year. Now, do I currently earn that amount of money? No, nowhere near. Don't earn that. And it is my 3-year goal, and I have absolute confidence that by the end of that 3rd year, I will. Now, when I look at scheduling my diary, when I look at decisions about where to spend money, who to work with, who to let go of, I make that decision from the point of I earn $500,000 a year. I do that because I know in order to make that amount of money, I need to believe, think, feel and act like I already do. Because it is those beliefs, those sentences in my head, those vibrations in my body, the behaviour I take, that is going to cause those results and not the other way around. So this is why so many people don't get the results they want. It's because they think that that feeling of being confident and accomplished and feeling different and acting different and thinking different will come as a result of getting the thing, earning the $500,000. It's backwards. The $500,000 is caused by what we believe, think, feel and do right now. And this is the other thing I see people do is I had a new lady join my course this week, and one of the first things I said to her was, I want you to be kinder to yourself. And she really resisted because she felt like she'd been kind to herself for too long and it hadn't worked. Okay? So this is the thing. Beating yourself up does not work. It doesn't work. And trust me, I've tried it for like 35 years. I was the queen at self-flagellation and self-loathing and self-deprecation and just, I tried it. I tried to come from performance from a place of beating myself up. It doesn't work. And this is why I don't like the phrases imposter syndrome or inner critic. There is neither an imposter nor a critic inside of you, okay? It is simply biology and chemistry. It's evolution. And you are not going to break up with it or you can't beat it. You're not going to break up with it. You have to partner with it and strike a deal. The deal that I have with my limbic system, that survival part of my brain that wants to keep me alive, and I call her Blanche. I name mine. Mine is called Blanche. Blanche is a fabulous older lady who's kind of very dramatic and lots of faux furs. She's a vegan. Blanche, I feel like Blanche is always a vegan. Blanche is fabulous and she's a warrior. Blanche doesn't breathe, she gasps. And the deal I have with Blanche is, and Blanche is evolution in my survival brain. And the deal I have with Blanche is, if we are in mortal physical danger, if we are being chased, if I need to lift a car off a small child, Blanche is in the lead. That's the deal. Like, Blanche, have at her. But when we are not in physical danger, it's the Joe show, okay? And I drive the car. I am in charge. Okay. Now, Blanche is always going to be with me. It's evolution. I can't fight her. She's not going anywhere. Okay. When it's 47-year-old Joe versus hundreds of thousands of years of evolutionary limbic system, they're going to win. So I'm not even going to fight. I'm not even going to try fighting them. I'm going to partner with them and reassure them. Okay. So I drive the car. Blanche gets to ride in the car. If she's good, she gets in the passenger seat. If she's not, she goes in the back. And I chuck her some Werther's Originals or some kind of hard candy where she can't be too yappy. And I encourage all of my clients to name their limbic system. And I have one client whose nervous system is so loud and so disruptive that she is frequently locked in the trunk. Okay? And it's really important that you cannot hate or berate your survival brain. You have to hear it. You have to love it. You have to thank it. You have to soothe it. You have to reassure it that it is safe and it's okay to save all of their energy for a grizzly bear attack. Because the problem is when we get exhausted, and making Blanche take the lead is exhausting. The problem people find is when, this is kind of what happens with burnouts, we get exhausted and burnt out, and then when things that really need our attention and our energy happen, we've got none left. So it's really important that we save our kind of flight, fight and fear response for when things happen. Very, very rarely does anything happen where we really need to kick that in. Sometimes, very, very rarely. So what does work? So if you're not taking action, it's not a character flaw, it's just data. So what I want you to start doing is to start to become aware. Start to observe your thoughts. Now, you are not your thoughts. I know that's a bit like, woo, you are not your thoughts. Who are you in that case? You are the observer of your thoughts. So start observing your thoughts like a scientist, not a judge. As soon as people start observing their thoughts, they go all Judge Judy on themselves. We're not doing that, okay? As much as we love Judge Judy, we are observing them like a scientist. When you notice that you're telling yourself there's no point launching because it will flop, notice that's interesting. When you're noticing that you are not risking rejection because you're scared that people will feel like you're not good enough, notice that that's interesting. So just want you to notice it, to name it, without judging, without drama. And that awareness is the beginning of all change. Okay. And the easiest place to start is to notice and name the emotion, that vibration in your body. Name it, describe it. It is anxiety, and it is, for me, anxiety is usually my chest. It's like across my chest, and it's like this pulling. Name it. And I see lots of terrible advice that tells people to kind of, when you recognise the thought you're thinking that's not serving you, pick a new thought. Terrible advice. And if you hear a coach talking about reframing your limiting beliefs or choosing a new thought, you should run a mile. They do not know what they are talking about. They don't understand basic human psychology. If you want to change the feeling and the thought, you first have to feel the emotion. I know it's rubbish. It's rubbish, and it works. So you have to feel the anxiety. You have to feel the vibrational discomfort and the rising throw up of frustration and anger. You've got to feel it in your body. You won't want to. It's not pleasant. And remember, it is simply a vibration in the body. It won't kill you. It will just feel like it will. And why do we need to feel them? Because, at the risk of sounding like a poster in the dentist, what we resist persists. It's a science thing. It's a physics thing. What we resist persists, and what we feel will eventually heal. And again, I know it sounds really, really naff, but I have clients come to me all the time, and they've been working with like other coaches for a year, and they are so stressed and so uncertain about themselves and what they do, and so worried about not being enough, and really, really apologising for taking up space, because they've never been told it is okay and appropriate and important to feel their emotions. If you take one thing from this episode, let it be this: you will not get stuck in your emotions by feeling them. You will get stuck in your emotions by not feeling them, okay? Your emotions are simply your brain trying to get your attention. It's trying to tell you what you're thinking. The best way the brain knows to get your attention is to make your body vibrate in different parts. Those are called emotions. When you hear them, then your brain will stop. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to try and change that thought right away, change that emotion. Don't do that. Only when you start to feel calmer, you want to make the thought more neutral, not more positive. Your brain is not stupid. You can't go from thinking I'm too expensive to everyone's desperate to pay me. Like, your brain will explode. Your anxiety will flare up. You'll feel like an imposter. It's just evolution. Okay. So if your current thought is I'm too expensive, or people will think I'm too expensive, a more neutral thought could be, I am of value. Pretty neutral, okay? And even saying that, you watch how much calmer you'll feel. And then you could go to, I provide high value. One of my key beliefs is that I'm reassuringly expensive. You should be reassuringly expensive. Okay, and why do I tell people I'm reassuringly expensive? It's not really for other people. It's for Blanche. Blanche wants to throw up every time I tell people how much I charge, and I don't charge anywhere near what lots of people charge. My brain needs to know I am reassuringly expensive. Okay, right. If this has helped, and I hope it has, give this episode a like. Make sure you are subscribed, share it with a friend, and remember, just because you are going solo, it does not mean you're alone. I've got you. All right, until next time, take care.